It was the door to a newspaper office. A note on the door said, "Out on a scoop. Back later." The door led into a building that had Juniper Parish Gazette painted on the side. Framed by trees and lit by moonlight, Belmore Manor stood imposingly in the still night air. Even without any lights on, it felt like something inside the house was calling me, or warning me. A large pond lay in front of the house, slowly being reclaimed by algae, weeds, and who knew what else. I considered wading into the pond, water up to my waist, squelching my way through the reeds and mud, past frogs, bugs, and water snakes. Then I realized I had absolutely no reason to do that. Belmore Manor stood proudly and enigmatically at the center of the estate. Who knew what had gone on inside its walls? From the outside, I couldn't spot any clues to the location of the Belmore treasure. A table and chairs sat inside the gazebo, an echo of better days. From the patina of rust, it was clear the patio set hadn't been used in decades. Ouch! So much for good luck. I picked up the horseshoe that had assaulted me. It was heavy, as the bump on my head attested. An old carriage wheel sat discarded in the grass. A length of rope dangled a barrel in front of the carriage house's hatch. The other end was tied off on the handle of the side door. The handle turned, but the door was restrained by the taut rope tied to it. From its other end dangled a heavy barrel full of molasses. Two large doors marked the entrance to the building, wide enough for the grandest of carriages. The doors were firmly locked from the inside. The wheel was too heavy to move. Looking out over the tranquility of the gardens, its magnolias lit by moonlight, nothing could take my attention away from the macabre sight dangling from the oak tree. A hanged skeleton, its wedding suit little more than tattered rags clinging to bone, and its skull seemingly watching me with hollow, unblinking eyes. An eternal groom without a bride. A skeleton, clothed in wedding attire, hung by the neck from a branch of the tree. Glinting in the moonlight was a wedding ring it still held clasped in its bony fingers. The skeleton hung high up in the tree, swaying with each slight breeze. Even from down on the ground, I felt disturbingly close to it. The stark trunk of the tree didn't offer any possibility of climbing it. A dying tree stood next to the balcony, its branches devoid of leaves, its bark flaking away. A dying tree stood next to the stark trunk. I needed the key to open it. With a deep breath, I placed the key into the lock of the house I'd been thinking about for weeks and turned it. Hello? I don't know if I expected a reply, but with only an echo in response, it seemed like nobody was home. I hope that was just the wind. Huge paintings hung on the walls of the hall. An orb appeared seemingly from nowhere, glowing and shimmering with energy, simultaneously captivating and terrifying. It was like it had a presence, an aura that I couldn't explain. My first instinct was to look for smoke and mirrors, but this illusion was right before my very eyes, one that I could reach out and touch. It was a pair of decorated wooden doors. With neither of the doors appearing to open, I peered through the crack between them. I couldn't tell if I was imagining things, but it looked like shadows dancing. Flanking the staircases was a matching pair of doors leading deeper into the manor. The door didn't have a visible lock, but as much as I tried, it wouldn't open. It wouldn't open. Without a flue, the fireplace seemed entirely decorative, and yet, standing in front of it, I could feel a breeze. Without a flue, the fireplace seemed entirely decorative, and yet, standing in front of it, I could feel a breeze. A marble fireplace sat between the two curved staircases, guarded on each side by stone lions. Without a flue, the fireplace seemed entirely decorative, and yet, standing in front of it, I could feel a breeze. Without a flue, flanking the staircases was a matching pair of doors leading deeper into the manor. Like the other door, this door had no keyhole, yet still seemed to be locked too. It was a family portrait of all four Belmore siblings, The three brothers stood around their seated younger sister. I remembered seeing reproductions of the paintings in the Merry and Macabre magazine I had. This was strange. I didn't remember seeing any lights on when I was outside the house. It was a door to an unknown room. The door was locked. I couldn't ring the bells from the hallway. The door was locked. Thick red curtains were tied back in front of the window. I looked behind the curtains, but there was nothing there. Walking into the room, I realized it must have been Abigail's bedroom. I was in the right place. Somewhere in this room was the Gree-Gree, and I needed to find it. I tried to lift the ashpan grate, but decades without use had rusted it in place. A grate opened beneath the stove to the ashpan, designed to allow burned charcoal and ashes to be cleaned out, and something inside it was glinting in the light. I took the poker from the hook.
Get out.
I hope that was my imagination. I wedged the poker in the grate, and with all my might, pulled. I picked up the object that had been glinting in the fireplace and discovered it was a jeweled brooch. The portraits hung tight to the wall and didn't reveal anything hidden behind them. The sheets lay flat on the bed, undisturbed for more than 30 years. The Gree-Gree wasn't going to be there. It was a grand four-poster bed with a carving of a single rose on its canopy. The music box was locked with no visible keyhole, but a distinctive indent on the front looked like it might be the mechanism to open it, if I had the right key. The brooch fitted snugly into the indentation in the music box. With a small click, the music box opened and revealed the contents it had held untouched for more than 30 years. The small leather bag was just as the witch doctor had described. It was hard to imagine what could be so important about it.
You should not be here.
Wait, I can explain.
You don't belong here.
I don't mean any harm.
Get out. Get out!
With good fortune, the pond had broken my fall. It was a strange juxtaposition, wiggling goldfish out of my